The first time I played Dispatch, I got the maidenless ending. I was alone, but the second time I romanced Blonde Blazer, and I thought it was really cute. I really like Mandy. I think she's just a nice lady, as Robert would say. I do think that this does have to be probably the most heterosexual relationship I've ever seen depicted in media before. Maybe that's going too far. Mandy is very competent, and she's also really buff, which I think is cool. But I mean, I don't know. I don't have a problem with heterosexuals. I felt like there was a little bit of an overrepresentation of them in Dispatch. Did we really need two heterosexual romance options? It just seems a little bit unrealistic for two heterosexuals to be working in the same office. Isn't that kind of unrealistic? I don't know. I guess maybe it was just to appeal to the heterosexuals so they would buy the video game. I mean, that's what a lot of game devs do these days. I did really enjoy the female characters in Dispatch. I like that they were all different, which is kind of a weird thing to say because you'd never say that about male characters, but I like that they all had different bodies and different personalities that were evident through their designs. I like the way that their designs were practical in different ways and reflective of different sorts of lifestyles and experiences and societal projections of themselves. I just thought it was interesting the way that they were given so much thought into their designs to make them feel like real individuals instead of just leotard, sexy superhero lady. Although I do think Malevola's heels are kind of stupid. I will say it. You can sue me. When I initially went into this drawing, I actually thought that the more difficult pose would be the one where Mandy is in her civilian clothes, but it was actually the superhero pose that gave me more trouble. I initially thought it would be the civilian pose because of the way she sort of curled in on herself, but the superhero pose I think just has a lot of line of action sort of subtlety to it. It's really easy to make it look stiff, and I didn't realize that at the start because I thought it was just her standing there but just a little bit more flair, but it was actually pretty difficult. It was one of the more difficult poses I've done in a while, which was really unexpected. I think the way it turned out was alright. I did want to play a bit more with perspective initially, but I decided not to. I might be able to pull it off if I did the drawing again, so maybe I'll do something more perspective bending in the near future to sort of play around with that. I also feel like maybe the colors are a bit much. It makes the piece a bit busy. When I was designing the background, I was really struggling between making it look too dull or too saturated, and it was difficult for me to find that sweet spot. I think the values are okay in this piece. I do think I could have done better with the colors, especially with a cell shaded style like this. You really have to pay attention to the colors that you're using in a way I feel like maybe more complicated rendering is a little bit easier to shimmy out of. But I feel like in the art world, oftentimes the simpler things get, the more difficult they are to make look professional. It's more difficult sometimes to draw things simply or to add less detail. But I do like how this drawing came out overall. I feel like I learned a lot, and I really like Mandy. I like that her name changes from Blonde Blazer to Mandy after you go on a date with her. I thought that was a cute detail I didn't see in my first playthrough because I was maidenless. And I might do a third playthrough where I romance and Girl, but that kind of feels like I'm cheating. Does anyone else feel like that when they play games, that they can only romance the same person every single time? Is that just me? Is that weird? I don't know. Let me know.